I see these software engineers spend 8 months, a year of their life, and then they'll post like a tweet like, I finally got to $1,000 monthly recurring revenue. And everybody chimes in like, congrats, you deserve it. Like, yeah. And I'm like, you spent 12 months to get to $1,000 MRR? I could literally walk down Main Street with a white label of HighLevel right now and get $1,000 of MRR in a day.
Chase Buckner, welcome to the ROI Online Podcast.
Amazing, right?
So why are we interviewing Chase Buckner today on the ROI Online Podcast? Well, Chase is the Director of Sales and Marketing at HighLevel. And if you haven't heard of HighLevel, then today is an awesome day for you because you need to know about this. What's at risk and what we do for the business owners that we work with and that we support is really significant. Chase, can you kind of tell us where you started? Where'd you learn your chops? Why in the world did you end up at HighLevel?
Yeah, for sure. So I built a marketing agency with a guy named Matt Coffey years ago, and we built a full service 7-figure agency over the course of about 6 years. And so I really cut my teeth in all the areas of the agency life. Basically, I would start out doing it, make the SOP, hire the team, and then move on to the next area. So we started as an SEO company, then we became a WordPress shop. So we built a full world-class WordPress team. Then we went into paid ads, reputation management, all the classic services. And so I oversaw all of that. I ran the operations for that agency, and we, as is typical, I think, as agencies mature, they get to a point where they're like tired of tying together software. And so we were first considering, should we build our own kind of all-in-one software? And luckily we had the developers on our own team were smart enough to say, hey, no, that's going to be a terrible idea. You guys have no idea, how big of an endeavor that would be and how much it would cost. So then we kind of went on the hunt. Well, surely somebody has to be working on this as well. We went through one or two solutions that ended up not working out. And that led me to HighLevel. And so we found it very early on. We were one of the early agencies to get into it. And when we found it, I knew right away, the lesson I had learned with the previous software that we were trying to use, it was founded by a guy who was a real estate person. And I flew out there, asking him some questions, and I quickly realized he didn't know what he was getting himself into. And so when I heard of HighLevel, the first question I asked was, well, who's behind it? And the answer was 2 engineers and an agency owner. And I was like, okay, now we're talking. And so I started digging in. I was blown away, even in the early days of what you could do. And so I told my team, hey, I'm going to kind of disappear for like a month and build out our SOPs so that, going into next month, when we get our new clients, you guys are going to know how to use this new tool. And while I was doing that, Sean, one of the co-founders of HighLevel, CEO, was checking in with me every week, like, okay, show me what you're doing. What are we missing? This, that, and the other thing. And it got to the point where he was like, wow, a lot of what you're doing, we could really use for everybody. And we started, would you be interested in joining the team? And I jumped at the opportunity because I knew it was just going to be an amazing company.
The evolution of an agency is like someone comes along and goes, I think I can help this business owner do some social media, maybe build their website or something. Mm-hmm. And so you start doing it and you do the things to make them happy. And then you hire someone, you got to outsource a little bit. And then your next thing you got another one, and you're building along. And there's these common themes that happen in the building of an agency.
Yep.
And where I want to go in this conversation is why HighLevel resolves a lot of the hurdles, the traps that you're going to run into. Can you kind of talk about what are the common what are the things that I started the social media agency this year, and a bunch of people have. Did you know there's 26,000 new agencies that started up this year?
Wow. No, I didn't know that stat, but it makes sense to me.
And so think of the common things they're going to run into. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, for sure. So when you start down that path, you quickly learn, well, if you're just doing social media marketing management, right? Like, okay, yeah, I need to post more on my Instagram and Facebook and I don't have time. Okay, great. You start doing that. You'll quickly realize it's hard to retain clients because organic posting doesn't really drive a ton of short-term business. So then you'll realize, okay, well, I need to run ads. Like my clients need to run ads. So you're going to start running ads for clients. And at first they're going to be impressed. Whoa, this is awesome. You generated all these leads at, a pretty cheap cost. But then you'll quickly realize that, again, they're not happy because they'll be telling you that these leads aren't converting into customers. And so the leads must stink and you'll lose that client. Odds are, we know that the churn rate for that service is pretty bad. It's over 60%. And so, you figure out ways to get better. You start, our journey looked like this. Okay, well, what are we doing wrong? Oh, they're just not seeing the big picture. So we need to put these leads into a CRM that has pipelines. Okay, great. Then we started doing that, and that wasn't enough. And so then we started, call tracking, and we were using WordPress. So it quickly got to a scenario where we had 5 or 6 different tools running for every client, tying together through Zapier, trying to pipe the data over to DataBox. And it was a mess. It was super expensive. It was really hard to scale because every time we got a new client, we had to go build all these different pieces and then try to tie them together again. And so there was the tech stack cost headache, which HighLevel solves because it's all in one, right? But the big one was really the big revelation for me was realizing why there was this disconnect. Why were our clients telling us that our $6 Botox leads stunk, right? $6 lead. Like we were just like, how are we having this conversation? We just drove you 100 Botox leads at $6 a pop. You should be on your knees, praising the gods that you ever found us. And when I dug into it, we quickly realized which is just the truth of the matter. Businesses are used to referrals, right? They are used to customers referring new customers, friends and family sharing, their positive experience. They're doing the selling for them. And so people that show up are pre-sold and they know how to deal with those folks, right? They have an appointment calendar of some type, whether it's a sales call, a first visit, whatever it may be. Then they try to do this social media thing and you start generating cold leads off the internet for them. And that's just a drastically different person than a referral. And that's the big disconnect. So we were like, got it. We need to close these leads for our clients. What does that look like? And we kind of realized, well, okay, they all require a booking before a lead becomes a sale, and they know what to do at these bookings, right? Whether it's a call, a first visit, et cetera. So that's when the big light bulb went off for us. Okay, we don't sell leads anymore. We sell appointments. That's what we do. And so we were like, great, how do we turn a cold lead into an appointment? And that's what led us to automation. And that's really, I think, the bread and butter of HighLevel and why it's so successful for agencies is because as soon as you put the automation behind your lead gen, the conversions go through the roof. You start retaining clients, everything gets good. Everything you finally get to the place where you thought you were going to be when you learn how to generate leads.
So, you start this business and I think it's just, we see this constant conversation on social media that, to get a lead, generate leads, lead generation, they name their agencies, the lead generation agency, whatever it would be. Mm-hmm. But I was finding that frustration in my agency. I've been doing this for 10 years. We're a HubSpot shop is how we started for 10 years, right? And so it's got the CRM, it's got all of this. And I remember one day I was sitting with the team. We were looking at the back end of one of our clients, and we were very proud. You could see where the phone call happened, where the click happened on a social media ad or something, and it came in and they scheduled a time. Okay. And so we were just like really proud. Here it is. It's really working. We're really doing it. We were high-fiving. I'm not exaggeration. The next meeting, this client comes in. They've been a client for 3 years, bragged on us. And the conversation starts with, Steve, I think we're going to do something else. I don't think this is working. And I about fell out of my chair. I couldn't believe it, and I'm going, whoa, this is a very smart business person. Why is it that they're not seeing this working? We were being measured on attrition. So attrition was following the acquisition. And I'm going, I was assuming they were taking these leads and really closing them. But in truth, when you got to listen to the calls, or you spend on, this is not just one client, but many, they were like, come in, what's this on my desk? What's all these leads? They move it over and get to the real business of work, right?
Yep.
And all that great stuff would just rot and become no good to them. And they weren't seeing it. And I couldn't believe it.
Well, there's a lot of science behind this, right? And again, going back to what I said, the first couple that they try to engage with, they quickly realize, wait, this isn't how it normally goes. This isn't a warmed referral, right? Even though they're not thinking that there's like a shock factor there. So then exactly that, they just start pushing them to the side. And there was a study done, a really smart guy. He's a professor at MIT, or he was, I don't know if he still is, but he did this big lead study. And long story short, the shocking revelation was that there's a 5-minute window. You generate a lead, you basically have 5 minutes to engage the lead, or the chances of ever closing it drop by like 80% or something ridiculous like that. So when I read that, and then I looked and was, digging into what was happening at our clients, we were working with a lot of med spas. And, so it's getting on the phone with owners. Hey, who handles the leads that we're sending you? What does this look like? And as we started to dig in, it became glaringly obvious what was going on, right? The person who was typically a young female working at the front desk was the one being tasked with these leads. And what did her typical day look like? Well, she was sitting at the front desk, first of all, dealing with everyone who walked in the door, right? And we worked with established businesses, so they had lots of appointments coming in every day. So she had to greet the people, get them seated, bring them water, whatever they wanted. And then she had to answer the phone. And we know nowadays, 1 of every 3 phone calls is spam or whatever, right? So she's wasting a ton of time answering these junk calls. She was also doing a million other things, like picking up lunch for the staff, taking out the trash. The one girl I spoke with, I have to walk the owner's dog 3 times a day. And it was just like, okay, Dr. Bob, how can we expect Susan, who's doing all of this stuff, to be the person that's going to close these leads? Even if she had the time, has she ever been trained on how to sell something? You know what I mean? And it was just like, okay. And then when we filter it through the lens of the lead study, what are the odds that Susan is going to engage any of these leads in the first 5 minutes that it's generated? It was just 0, right? It was never going to happen. And so that's when it just became clear as day that we got to do this for them. And how do we do this at scale? And so when you flash forward into a world of HighLevel, we have a recipe in our automation builder, our workflow builder, that basically you turn it on, and every time a lead gets generated, boom, an email's going right out. Thanks for claiming whatever the offer was. Next steps to get you booked. Here's the link to the calendar, et cetera. But you're also sending a text message right away. Hey, Chase, thanks for claiming that free teeth whitening voucher. The next steps to get you booked. Is now a good time? And so now we can do this very conversational closing as opposed to just relying on an email, right? We then wait to see if you reply in 2 minutes. And if you don't, we're going to send you a voicemail drop. So the phone doesn't actually ring, but you just get a voicemail notification. We do this call connect feature, which is amazing. This is, I think, like a secret weapon that we have, where we'll actually call the business. And when they pick up, so imagine Susan answers the phone, it plays a whisper message that you programmed. So it would be like, hey, Chase's awesome marketing agency generated another Botox lead from Facebook. The lead's name is Sarah May. Press any key to connect with Sarah. So if Susan presses a button, we dial Sarah. If Sarah answers, we bridge the call. So we're trying to literally put the customers on the phone with the lead in the first 5 minutes, if they haven't already converted through email or SMS. And then we just, then we go from there. We just continue to automate the nurture for as long as you want. But when you look at how different that is from the old reality of relying on Susan to do anything versus, hey, within the first 5 minutes, we've taken like 8 shots at engaging this lead. It's night and day. It's completely black and white. And when we started doing it, we just saw the booking rates jumping up by like 60%, 70% across the board.
So the big paradigm shift for me when I ran into HighLevel was, first of all, it's designed for agencies, right? Mm-hmm. So I've been proud to be a HubSpot agency, right?
Sure. HubSpot's an amazing piece of software, just costs a lot.
Exactly. But as I've matured, my agency's matured with HubSpot, they're swimming upstream to enterprise.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you look at the statistics, 98.5% of the businesses in the US have 20 or less employees. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? That means that Dr. Bob, that you always talk about, has 20 or less employees, and they have to do pretty much everything. They have to hire, they have to manage, they have to sell, they have to do the work, they have to do all these things. And they don't have time to really learn another very sophisticated software that doesn't put the focus on the right thing. And the right thing is, why are we doing this anyway? Yeah. We're doing this to get the phone to ring and to get someone to come in and take advantage of the solutions that we provide. Mm-hmm. And the big paradigm shift for me with HighLevel was that first 5 minutes. Yep. The conversations around, hey, you got an old list sitting around. Let's get this list re-energized. Instead of like, let's redesign a website, let's build out your messaging, let's do all these sophisticated things. And it just hit me that HighLevel's focus is on what's a simple, big lever we can lean on that's going to make a big difference today.
That's a great point. And so you brought up a couple of great things that I want to talk about real quick. So one, yes, we build for agencies. Why? Because we think it's the smarter model, right? I don't believe that 9 out of 10 Dr. Bobs have no clue what software they need. They don't know how to set it up. No chance at all. But the reality is there are thousands of MarTech softwares, right? Marketing platforms out there. 99% of them are massively funded by VCs, right? And so if you're a HubSpot, if you're whoever, you have this army of a sales team pounding the phones, calling every Dr. Bob, trying to sell them the software. So Dr. Bob, he knows he needs help. He knows he needs something. So he starts signing up for some of them. Can't figure out how to set it up. It doesn't work out. Churns, wastes a ton of HubSpot or whoever's support resources. Dr. Bob's not happy. It's just not a good model. And so we know that the best path to success for an SMB is to hook up with an agency, because the agency will choose the software they need, set it up for them, get it all running. And it's not just a software, right? You need knowledge on top of it. So you need somebody who knows how to write converting emails, somebody that knows how to write nurture sequences, somebody, that knows how to do these things, that knows what a good website looks like, that understands it has to load fast, that, knows how to set up a Google My Business profile. And so that's the winning model. And so that's where we dedicated our focus, and we incentivize the model by allowing agencies to white label HighLevel and resell it for whatever they want. So the agency is now delivering both the software and the solution, right? The software and the services combined to be the solution, and it's all under their brand. And so the agency becomes the one-stop shop. They make money off the software, which is stickier than the services revenue. We already talked about that. What's very cool is that software can solve the problem, like we already talked about, but it also can do a lot of really amazing things automatically. And that's what you started hinting at, right? So HighLevel gives you a chat widget to put on anybody's website. It's actually just a gateway into an SMS conversation. So it's not live chat, which sucks, right? We all think, oh, yes, you pop the thing up and you type it in and there's no response. And you're like, okay, how long am I supposed to sit on this website, right? No. When you fill out a HighLevel chat widget, the message comes into the system as an SMS. So when you reply, it goes back to their phone as an SMS. They can leave the website, but the conversation's still going. So you drop it on a client's website, and immediately they start getting all these new leads. And why does that happen, right? It's simple. Nobody wants to talk anymore, right? Nobody wants to have to get on the phone to do anything. So as soon as you enable people to text message a business, and again, HubSpot doesn't do two-way text messaging yet, you start to see all these leads pour through. So now you as an agency, your quote unquote software just started generating leads by sticking the chat widget on their website. Nobody had to spend money on ads. The traffic was already going there. It just wasn't converting, and now it is. So you're the hero. There's several things like that, like Google Business Chat. Most people don't even know it exists, right? You connect GMB to HighLevel, we turn it on automatically, and now when somebody searches something on Google Maps, or when somebody searches on their phone, there's a new, in the Google business profile that pops up, it's like the picture of the information. There's a new button that says chat. You click on that and you can send a message to the business. It comes right through HighLevel into the same stream as the SMS. And again, there's tons of traffic already going to your client's GMB properties. Now it's turning into leads and traffic because you enabled messaging. People want to message. So there's the missed call text back, right? You turn that on, and now every missed call that your client gets, a text automatically goes back to the person who called and says, hey, sorry, we missed your call. How can we help? Saves a ton of business. So these things are all automated, and you set them up day one. And now you have clients that are thrilled out of the gate based on value that's being delivered automatically through software. So these things just all add up to client retention. And that's the name of the game, right? We know that if agencies retain clients because of HighLevel, then we retain the agencies.
It's like the upside down model of what I was raised or taught, or the default agency model is it's got to be so sophisticated and so many employees, and each new big deal that you bring in, you have to hire a new person. And the thing about HighLevel is just like really blew my mind, was like, no, this is super scalable. In just a matter of a week or two, you can set up these repetitive scalable systems that are quick wins for a client. That's all they're wanting. Yep. If you think about someone that's got 20 or less employees, they didn't sit and think about this big complicated website and CRM implementation, although they'll take advantage of it later. But they just want quick wins because their business is at risk.
And that's the problem when you hire a lead gen agency, a Facebook ad agency, a Google ad agency. It takes on average 2 to 3 weeks to get the first campaign off the ground. Think about that from the client's perspective, right? They know they need help. They finally break down and they're willing to pay someone. So they pay your agency, whatever, $1,500 a month, $2,500. And now they're just sitting there waiting. When is this going to start? Did I make a bad decision? Should I cancel that check? Why haven't they called me yet? I'm going to call them. And, you get this huge pain of the first week and a half, which is a terrible way to start a relationship, right? So that's one of the things I love about HighLevel is while you're building the campaign, you're installing these easy automated wins that are going to start generating leads literally day one. The first time I ever turned on the GMB chat for a business, it was actually a restaurant here, where I'm at here. And a couple hours later, the first message came in. It was like, hey, how do I buy a gift certificate? And I was like, there you go. Literally the very first one that came through was somebody waving money at you. And yeah, it's just really important to kick a relationship off right. It gives you time to get your ad set up, but then you can also do reactivation campaigns like you pointed out, right? Hey, you're sitting on a list of past leads and customers. You might not know it, Dr. Bob, but you are. Let me help you get that list out of your WordPress site, out of your Gmail, out of wherever. Hey, give me a fresh offer that we can run. If it's a restaurant, can we give away 2-for-1s? How many do you want to give away? 50, 20? Okay, great. If it's a dentist, can I give away some free teeth whitening vouchers? Like whatever it is. You load them up in HighLevel, you send out a text. Hey, Chase, Dr. Bob just approved me to give away 20 free whitening vouchers this month. Can I put your name on one? And then in HighLevel, we have really cool AI that reads the messages, the replies, and determines if it was positive or negative. So everybody replies back, yeah, sure, sounds good, awesome, let's do it. Whatever, that all gets tagged as positive, and then we automate the reply back. Great, the next step is to get you booked for a cleaning. Here's the calendar link. Go ahead and grab a day and time that works for you. If it's negative, we can do whatever we want with it in the system. But the point is, in the past, you had to sift through all the replies manually to figure out who wanted the vouchers and who didn't. Now you don't. And just think about how many bookings you could generate by doing that, right? And you could do that on day one or day two of your new client. So you've got the automation running, you're blasting out an offer to drum up their database. By the time your first ad goes live, they're already over the moon about what your agency and your software is doing for them.
You think about those 26,000 new people that quit their job that they weren't happy with, and they're betting on themselves. What are they going to do? They're going to go out and help these 32 million small businesses in North America do better with their marketing. But the trap is you got to learn somewhere. So you go listen to the usual thought leaders. But many of those thought leaders are coming from the agency of today kind of mindset. But really, we need to be designing our agency for the future. What blows me away about HighLevel, it just changed my paradigm: automation, quick wins, the texting instead of email. What are some of the things that you see HighLevel positioning to really set these folks up for success in the future and not put us in the old default model of typical agency services?
Well, here's the thing, and this is why I love it. Because, like I said, I spent 6-7 years building an agency, right? And, we hit the big milestone, $1 million ARR. And it was a painful journey. I mean, there were many ups and downs along the way. I told you this story of the day that I had to tell our staff we were all taking pay cuts because we didn't want to lay anyone off, but we had a terrible month. And so, one of the worst days of my life. One day I was going over our hosting platform for all the websites we were hosting. We used to use WP Engine, and we had hundreds of websites running. And we used to charge people $50 a month for a hosting package. It included like 20 minutes of updates a month if they needed it or whatever. So I was running the numbers and I was like, oh my gosh, we're hosting hundreds of websites at $50 a month. Most of these people haven't been quote unquote customers in years, right? We don't know other services, right? They're not running ads with us anymore. They're not doing SEO anymore, but they're still paying us to host their website. And I remember talking with Matt, going, Matt, what are we doing? If we were smart, we would honestly shut down all the services, let everybody go, and you and I could live off of this automated revenue. Now, obviously, neither one of us wanted to do that, and we didn't, but we should have thought about it more. That's what led me on the path of, okay, what is the next version of this opportunity? Creating a utility bill that people are just happy to let run on their credit card. They don't even think about paying it. And for me, that's what HighLevel is, right? We know in the future, every business is going to understand that they need two-way text messaging. They need a CRM, that they need things like Google My Business Chat, and their need to consolidate everything across all these platforms. It's already started, right? Podium, that Podium essentially does those few things, right? And so if you've never heard of Podium, it's a monster company. They've raised, I don't even know how much money at this point. I think they're valued at over $1 billion. And again, they have a massive sales team, and they're calling every small business in the nation, trying to convince them to pay $500 a month on an annual contract. So Podium is out there crushing it, charging businesses $500 a month, and they have to pay for the year up front. So think about that opportunity, right? It's working because we know those automated things work. We already talked about that. And so for me, the agency entrepreneur of the future understands, okay, it's going to be a long road for me to get good at running Google Ads, SEO, building websites, etc. But the market already wants these automated things. I can't go white label and resell Podium. I can white label and resell HighLevel. So I could literally just come up with a brand, white label HighLevel, and walk down Main Street of my town and sell every door I walk by. And then I'll have their trust, and I can upsell them other things that they're going to need. Well, they're going to need website work. They're going to need SEO. They're going to need all these things. And I don't know how to do that. But I could partner with people along the way until I decide to build that out myself. And to me, that's what the model looks like of the future. Yes, ad agencies are going to continue to win, especially the really good ones, because they're going to get brought in with these new agencies who already have the trust of folks because they got them set up on the essentials, right? The CRM, the automated stuff, et cetera. And that's what I'm most excited about. We're empowering traditional agencies to, do better, reduce churn, increase results, all that stuff. But we've also created this amazing, and by the way, even the established agencies that in the beginning all wanted to sell HighLevel as a downsell. Oh, you don't want Google Ads anymore? Well, maybe you'd be interested in our software package. Are now leading with the software, right? Everybody leads with it because it's the easiest foot in the door. It's the automated wins. We already talked about it. It's so easy. And so that's what's super exciting for me is that entrepreneurs that want to go down the agency path have this incredible, almost too easy to screw up first step. And so you go out, you start selling HighLevel for $300 a month or whatever. People don't churn. So you're actually building a steady business pretty quickly. And then you can explore what you're really good at. I love building websites, right? So if I were to start over, I'd go down that path, but I would also offer websites, which you can build right in HighLevel. And so, yeah, that's to me is what the future looks like is folks getting businesses set up with the essentials, CRM, some automation, capitalize on that traffic you're getting, allow people to text. Now we have WhatsApp rolling out for, WhatsApp's becoming obviously a huge, a bigger thing in America, but outside of the US, WhatsApp, nobody even does SMS. It's all WhatsApp. So the opportunities are huge. Like you said, there's a new agency born every second because there's more businesses being formed every second, right?
I think the other thing that HighLevel does, when you start your agency, at some point, you're going to go, all right, so what am I building? Am I building a lifestyle company, or am I wanting to build something that I can scale and then sell in the future? Okay. Those are two very different things. The default agency model is a trap in that lifestyle unless you have the horsepower to bring in these teams and really sell at enterprise. And when you said you can go down your main street and set everybody up on that street, that's a big deal, because if you're selling HubSpot, you're really niched into just a 0.2% of the business market. The 98%, you can set various aspects of HighLevel up for every one of these, and it's scalable. And when they're tired of your services, when they have that conversation, Steve, I just don't think this is working anymore, then they level down to just the subscription that they're paying you. That's giant.
It really is. And, you know, I'm pretty active. Well, I follow a ton of entrepreneurs on Twitter who are trying to build their own softwares. I think it's super cool, right? I always had that sort of regret or wonder of like, what if I learned how to code instead of becoming an English major in college, right? Like, what would that have done for me? And so, you know, I love to follow engineers and builders. And the thing is, it's sad. I watch lots of them pour their heart and soul into building some software that does some cool thing. And then they just get slapped in the face by the market, right? Nobody wants it. Nobody wants to pay it. Why would I want to pay $25 for something that does one little thing? And so the sad part is features are going to be ubiquitous, right? Like HubSpot will do two-way text messaging one day. They will have to. ClickFunnels will do the things that we do that they don't someday. They're going to have to. Everybody is going to build all the features. So what does that look like? How do you compete with that right now if you're trying to start from scratch building software? We're confident in the future because we have a different model, right? We sell to the agencies who resell it. So we're you know, for our competitors to pivot and take our customers, they just couldn't. It's too big of they can't change their business model. They can add features, but they can't change the business model. And so, you know, I see these software engineers spend 8 months, a year of their life, and then they'll post like a tweet like, I finally got to $1,000 monthly recurring revenue. And everybody chimes in like, congrats, you deserve it. Like, yeah. And I'm like, you spent 12 months to get to $1,000 MRR. I could literally walk down Main Street with a white label of HighLevel right now and get $1,000 of MRR in a day. And that's not even an exaggeration. Like, I think someday that would be a good marketing piece of content if I actually did that, because I'm not exaggerating. It is that easy. And so it's just, you know, when I think SaaSpreneur is a term that we've come up with for this piece of the HighLevel opportunity. And I really think that white labeled SaaS, SaaSpreneur, these are going to be terms that are a lot more common in the years to come.
I agree. What are you excited about the future that you know about where HighLevel is going that we're going to learn about soon?
So much stuff. I mean, we have so many cool features coming out, like the builder in me. Again, I love to build websites. Our builders are just getting a ton of cool new features like sliders and accordions and all that kind of good stuff. There's a Instagram gallery widget rolling out soon. And so the websites that we build on HighLevel are just going to get even better and better. There's a ton of CRM enhancements coming soon. And that's been probably one of the biggest hangups from folks that are coming over from places like HubSpot is, you know, HubSpot's an insane CRM. You know, our CRM has always been a much lighter weight version, right? And now with these updates that are rolling out, it's going to get us way closer, you know, as far as the CRM feature set. And so I think it's going to make it even easier of a choice for agencies that are currently, you know, struggling with the price structure of a HubSpot. Say, I talk to agencies every day. They're like, I just can't afford it. This is crazy. I'm paying, you know, $5,000-$6,000 a month now to HubSpot, and I just can't charge my clients enough for it to work. So the CRM stuff that's coming is really exciting. Our social media scheduler is a pretty new area of the product. We just added LinkedIn to that. So now you can schedule for Facebook pages, groups, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google business profile, and now they're working on Twitter. And then after Twitter will be like TikTok, and so that's just going to get better and better. Super excited about that stuff. What else is coming? I mean, really powerful stuff to the workflow builder, like goal steps. If you've used like ActiveCampaign, the goal step is extremely powerful. So things like that are coming. We've got some amazing news coming that I can't quite announce yet, although the contract has already been signed. We just had the first meeting with their team yesterday, but we want to be the Nike of the marketing world, really. And so, obviously we have an insane affiliate program, but we are starting to sponsor big time marketers who have become interested in HighLevel lately. And so we just signed a massive deal with probably the biggest person in the space. And so I can't quite say the name yet, but yeah, if you've ever taken a learn how to make money selling Facebook ads course, you probably know who I'm talking about. And so it's going to be really exciting, because I think once we announce that, then some of the other big names are going to want to join the team. And, we want the LeBron Jameses to be, wearing a HighLevel logo. So all sorts of exciting stuff. Our first event is going to be in October, our first annual big event in Dallas. So that's going to be super fun. Ton of planning is already going into that. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things going on.
Chase Buckner, you've been an awesome guest on the ROI Online Podcast. What's the best way if folks want to connect with you? What's the best way?
You can connect with me personally, probably Twitter. WC Buckner is my Twitter handle. I spend more time on there. My Facebook is just an absolute mess. I can't even, every time I log in, there's like 5,000 notifications. So I don't even try. And my Instagram, I keep private. And so that's my one refuge of social media. So Twitter is the place to find me. But yeah, if you're interested in HighLevel, I think you should reach out to Steve and ask him for his affiliate link, because we do have a 14-day free trial that we'd love for you to check out.
That's right. So that link will be in this post in the bottom down here. If you watch it on YouTube, obviously it'll be in there, and it'll open up a couple more weeks for that free trial for you as well. Chase, thanks for that plug, brother. Anything else before we go?
No, thanks so much for having me. I look forward to seeing this go live.
Yeah, me too. And that's a wrap.